The following is a presentation of Muddy River Sports.
Welcome to Mud Brothers, our Muddy River Sports podcast. I'm Muddy River Sports editor Matt Schuckman, along with my trusty sidekick, Chris Duerr.
I answer to anything, as you well know at this point. I'll take Geronimo.
Geronimo Tonto, whatever
works.
You know.
I think we have a lot of musically inclined friends.
I think so too.
Have we thought about maybe some theme music to the Mud Brothers podcast?
I've been giving it that. So here's what I came up with the other night sitting at home. You know the scene from Step Brothers? When did we just become best friends?
Yes.
I don't know if it's legal for us to use that clip.
Probably not. There's a copyright infringement thing
but
there.
we probably can't get away with that. But that was what I thought could be the perfect intro.
I like it. I like where your head's at.
So,
I think, sort of a Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly photo of us together wearing similar shirts.
Oh, should we? We may not want to go there. However, our first podcast last week got a lot of attention, and thank you guys for that.
Absolutely.
We threw out some ideas as we were rolling along through it, and then we threw some on social media with some clips from the podcast. And the idea that the Macomb High School football facility needs a name got so much response.
It did.
I was like, wow. I thought a few people might throw something out there and have a little fun with it. It was overwhelming.
We have invariably clever viewers out there, and a lot of the suggestions I thought were really, really good.
They were.
I just don't know that anything yet has said, this is it.
The most, I don't want to say most common response, because we heard a lot of varying ones, but maybe the one thrown out the most was tarmac.
Well, and that would make sense based on everything.
Tarmac,
yes.
I don't know if it's, I don't know. I don't know how it sounds, welcome to Macomb High School. We take on the Illini West Chargers here at the tarmac.
That does have a nice ring to it.
It does have a nice ring to it.
It really does. And it kind of just snaps. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's our answer.
And as of right now, as we plan out our football coverage,
right,
I'm planning on being in Macomb week 3.
Well, that would be a perfect time to unveil a new name. Perhaps we could have some scissor cutting opening.
Or maybe we get one of the movie clipboards.
That would be awesome, yes.
We might have to try something like that.
I like this idea very much so.
So, again, thank you to everyone who listened, watched our podcast last week, and then chimed in, because that was a lot of fun.
It was, and I think that's the part of this that we love is the viewer and watcher participation.
Exactly. Yes. And we are on Spotify, we are on Apple Podcasts.
For all that ask, because we got a lot of that last week as well. We did.
So we do have the video element, but we also have the podcast element where if you're sitting at work and just want to listen to us babble on about whatever we're going to babble on about, you have that opportunity.
And there's going to be a lot of babble, I can assure you.
There usually is. Okay, so last week we kicked it off with music.
Okay.
This week, movies?
That works for me.
Okay, so I've got some buddies that love to do top 5 lists.
Okay.
And one of the ones they threw out recently was top 5 movies that you just, when they're on TV or you see them somewhere, you always stop and watch. So basically your guilty pleasure movies.
Like your comfort flicks.
Your comfort flicks. Can you come up with 5, or do you just want to do a couple? Or
I think I can come up with 5. I think I could probably come up with 30 if you sat there and asked me. But I think pretty easily. I mean, that list for me, and thank goodness for this on cable, is any iteration of The Godfather, 1, 2, or even 3.
Okay.
Any version of either Casino or Goodfellas is always a winner. And then I'd probably go, the traditionals, which I think some of these may be shared with you. Tombstone would be on that list.
Number 1 on my list.
The Fugitive would be on that list for me.
Very good call.
Tombstone, The Fugitive. One more that's always playing. I don't know. There's a lot of those type of movies that are out there. I'll come up with another one. What are your answers?
National Treasure 1 and 2.
Okay.
I love Nicolas Cage. So if any Nicolas Cage movie that comes on, I'm probably going to watch it no matter what.
Sure.
But National Treasure, with the history element in there, the intrigue of it, Full Metal Jacket.
Great movie.
One of my favorite war movies. Good Morning Vietnam. It would
Robin
probably be
Williams
my number.
at his best.
It'd probably be my number 2 right under Tombstone. So, and then you go, we mentioned Nicolas Cage, Con Air. Shout out to our boy Josh Houchins.
Indeed,
because he was one of those who thought it was a terrible movie, but anytime it was on, he watched it.
I get it.
So there's some of those. The Sandlot.
Well, and that goes to
I
figure.
can't.
Is there a baseball movie that you don't like? Is there a baseball movie that you...
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because I think that's sort of your particular wheelhouse, sports movie-wise.
I mean, The Natural is my favorite baseball movie. Sandlot would be number 2.
Okay.
But there's just something magical about The Sandlot that I just, if it's on, I'm watching it. And my wife will tell you the same thing. She'll come home and it'll be on.
A lot of people feel the same way about The Goonies. It's that kind of movie based on your milieu that you go for.
And you think about growing up in that era of the 80s, The Goonies has to be a movie that you love. E.T. has to be has to be a movie that you love.
I think in more recent time, and I missed my most obvious one because I failed to say Roadhouse, which is something I watch every single time it's on without fail, even if it's just to watch bad line deliveries from Terry Funk, professional wrestling's best. I thought you'd be bigger. Just because. But I mean, more traditionally, late movies. I mean, I really liked the Maverick movie that's now playing all over Paramount that you see all the time. Top Gun was that way for me in the 80s, and now that remake has been one of the better remakes I think in recent history.
I would agree. And luckily, we have Paramount Plus, so I've watched a lot of things on there. The Taylor Sheridan collection, whether it's the Yellowstone spin-offs with 1883 or 1923 are phenomenal. Landman is phenomenal. So I love Landman.
Now that you love all of this, can I get you to watch Hell or High Water?
I'm sure you will.
From Taylor Sheridan, probably my favorite offering he's ever made. One of the best modern westerns of all time, I would call it, although it's based on bank robberies in Texas. But great movie as well.
So I think I remember telling you this, but so last summer, Michelle and I had to go to Colorado. We went to Grand Junction, Colorado, which is on the other side. It's on the west side of the Rockies. Okay. For her parents' 50th wedding anniversary party. Great time, a lot of family stuff. First time I had been to that side of the Rockies. We'd gone to Colorado multiple times to see her family in Colorado Springs, but hadn't taken that extra trip.
Right.
So driving from Denver to Grand Junction, you're driving through the mountains.
Right.
I felt like I was in an old Western.
It's kind of cool that way,
isn't it? It is so cool. Yeah. And there, and some of the names of the Gulch Canyon, and stuff like that. But there were spots that, and you see the railroads driving through there, and you don't see trains going, but the old railroads, rail lines, and all I could think of is I kept waiting for guys to come out on horseback and guns. Like, I wanted to be in the Old West at that moment.
So I've never felt more like that than, believe it or not, Alaska. Being in Skagway, Alaska, if you ever make that trip to that area, which, by the way, is beautiful, by the way.
And I'm going to go there.
I know that's Michelle on your list.
Yes, it is.
So you go to Skagway, and it's like an old Western town. It's just like the old clapboard buildings, and there's a house of ill repute, supposedly, that's turned into a pub now. And there's the saloon. There's and it's just such a cool feeling. But I know that I'm now a Midwesterner and no longer a California because, like you, I don't fly nearly as much as I'd rather just drive and see the country. A 14-hour drive, I don't care. That's fun.
When we went to Yellowstone National Park, it's been now 16 years. Wow, I'm getting old. But we went to Colorado first to see her family for a family reunion. And then we drove up to Yellowstone. We've done we've done Badlands, come back through. But when we drove to Yellowstone, we stayed in Cody, Wyoming.
Yeah.
And there was an old saloon, and it's still decorated like an old saloon. It's now a restaurant. Phenomenal meal. I had elk steaks. So you had to do something.
You had to be part of it.
You had to be part of it. But just the setting was incredible. And you felt like you were taken back to the 1880s. And you were waiting for guys to come in and have a shootout.
When we did that the last time we did it a couple of years ago, we came the South Dakota direction, and you meander through that last 70 miles with a little stream off to the right, all of these little A-frame style houses. It is one of the most gorgeous parts of our country, that ride into Yellowstone, and I would highly recommend it if you've never driven from here to there.
No question. No question. Okay. Next chance you get, vacation-wise, so obviously we have the school year, so neither one of us is taking any time off.
Not anytime soon.
Where would you like to go?
I don't know if you've heard this or not. I started a new job. Vacation may be far off in my future at this point. I still have always wanted to, and I actually got married on the big island of Hawaii, but I'd never been to Volcanoes National Park. And I have been fascinated since I've been age 5 with volcanoes and the lava flows and watching the lava, hot lava, trickle into the ocean and become stone and become more of the island.
Wow.
So that's a trip that's probably number 1 on my list of national parks and places that I would like to go just based on the nature. How about you?
My one I want to get to now, and Michelle and I have talked about it, is Glacier National Park.
Yeah.
I want to make that drive. It's like a 22-hour drive from here, but it'd be worth it.
I also think Denali would be 100% in your wheelhouse.
It is, but that's a
longer trip.
I can't really drive to. I guess I could figure out a way to drive to Alaska, but I don't know if I want to.
Well, at some point, I think you and Michelle need to make the Alaska trip
trust
because
me.
there's not a state in the country that's more curtailed than what you love.
I want to find a moose.
Yeah.
I want up close encounter with a moose.
I think that would be awesome.
I've had my up close encounter with buffalo.
Yes.
And it just still, it almost gives me goosebumps thinking about it. And that's my favorite animal there's ever been.
Right.
As I said one time on a radio show, I have a love affair with buffaloes, and I caught a lot of heck for that.
I'm not going to judge. You do you, Matt Schuckman, but I get it.
But, I mean, the fact we had a buffalo come from like a couple miles away, and we watched it walk from that distance, this little speck way off on the horizon that just grew bigger and walked within about 20 yards of us when we were in the Badlands. Wow.
My one moose encounter, we were young. We went to Banff and Lake Louise up in Canada in the Canadian Rockies. And we were in Banff, and traffic was stalled because there was a moose walking down the middle of the main thoroughway.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
But that was a long, long time ago, so I get it.
Well, and as we talk about that stuff, we are going to include more outdoors coverage in what we do here at Muddy River Sports. And I had that opportunity on Saturday to speak to some outdoors guys down in Pike County about what's out there. What can we do? What can we do to ingratiate ourselves into the outdoors community?
Sure.
What stories can we do? What videos could we do? That kind of stuff. And then I got to go spend some time with a couple buddies that I haven't seen for quite a while.
And where did you spend this time, Matt Schuckman?
This was south of Duerr.
Oh, yes.
So we were deep into Pike County.
Yes, you were.
Out in the nowheres. My guys, Pat Berter, Josh Tucker, love you guys. But just had a phenomenal time at the farm where they deer hunt. And talking about hunting. We had football on the TV because there were preseason games going on. And just had a phenomenal time. But there was one thing that happened, and I didn't look up the kid's last name, and I feel bad that I didn't look it up before we got started on this. But there was a running back for the Seattle Seahawks. Jacardi, I can't think of his last name. He's originally from Decatur. He played at Decatur St. Teresa.
Okay.
So he's playing in the preseason for the Seattle Seahawks. Well, my buddies Pat and Josh live in Clinton, Illinois.
Okay.
They coached youth football back in the day, junior high age football, because Pat's son was on the team, and shout out to Ty. And so they coached against Jacardi.
Oh, wow.
Well, so we're just sitting there and we're chit-chatting about anything and everything, and TV's on in the background, kind of. And we look up, and Jacardi, I think his name's Jacardi. I'm going to have to look it up because I'm probably saying it wrong.
Sure.
And they're going to give me grief for it, but whatever.
Yeah.
He goes on a big run, and like a 35-yard run. And our buddy Josh Tucker just went crazy, and it was like, but his excitement of seeing somebody that he had coached against, somebody he kind of felt like he knew, was so awesome.
Right.
And I think you and I have had that.
We have.
Is there one that you're looking forward to seeing? And I don't necessarily mean professionally.
Sure.
And there are guys that we could see professionally.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's one you're sitting there going, I hope he makes it. I hope he gets that chance. I want to see him do that. Is there anybody that sticks out to you?
Just based on the fact that, the Illinois Amateur just shook out the way that it did, and Connor Ham was going to win it. And I sat down and talked to Braden Duncan when we did that piece.
Right.
And Braden was on the bag for Connor before he went out.
I didn't know that.
Did
Cool.
a really good job. Said, despite the fact that that lead evaporated from him, and that Connor literally hit one bad shot all day, and yet it went away from him. And Connor's such an easy, as you well know, such an easy guy to root for.
Yes.
He seems like our next golf guy. I mean, you're not going to the University of Arizona if you're not something incredibly special. You're not nearly winning by blowout the Illinois Amateur,
Right.
and you know the quality of players in that
No
event.
question.
You're not doing that if you're not a truly great golfer. We've seen this with Luke.
Yeah.
Another young man that I've had a chance to see grow up and become something incredibly special within golf. So that would be my plus for that. I got to tell you, though, and you know this because I've known Dustin Jacoby since he was, 14 years old. It's really hard for me to watch him live because when you know somebody in that position, when he fights on the UFC card, if he loses or gets knocked out, it's a totally different experience because you know who that is, and you get very concerned, and there's a nerve-wracking nature to that. I'm sure it's like, when you followed Luke around, it's please don't hit a bad shot.
So, or if, and I remember one time at the John Deere Classic, Luke didn't finish one of his rounds very well, and I could just see it in his face as he went to the scoring tent, and it's like, okay. And in that moment, it was like, I got to do my job, but give him space. But then it was just like, oh, man, everybody's here rooting for you. Wish that could have gone better. Well, and that, and because we're human.
We are.
We're there doing our jobs. We're there doing what we have to do. But we still have fans. We're still fans in a way. We still are human. We get to know these people.
We're fans of the people.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why, I'm hoping we're almost to September. I don't know if it's going to happen. But I want to see Riley Martin get the shot.
Well,
he's at AAA with the Cubs right now.
You have a very special relationship with Riley, and you are a baseball guy at heart.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like watching, somebody that you watch grow up in front of you.
Right.
Because Riley did a lot of that at QU.
He did.
And trusted you more than he's probably trusted any journalist in the history of his life. To see him kind of go that route is incredibly special. And I know as a Cardinals guy, there's a little bit of that sticks in your craw.
Okay, so the hat I have on today is from the Cape Cod League. Okay, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But I promised Riley, if he makes it to the big leagues, I will buy a Cubs hat and I will wear a Cubs hat for him.
I will pay good American dollars to see this happen. I get it.
He's close.
Yes, he is.
So I may have to do that at some point, but there's a little piece of me, just a little one.
That's going to die inside.
No,
right?
that hopes he gets traded so it could be another team.
I feel that. I have a cousin whose son is playing with the Mets AAA team.
Right.
I hate the Mets. But if Brandon gets the call up, which he's on the verge of after a great month, then I become a Mets fan for the rest of my life. And you smack me around here every time I wear my Mets gear.
Yeah, but that's okay.
No, that's how it works.
That's how it works. Now, speaking of this hat, it's the Harwich Mariners Cape Cod League.
Okay. It's a great hat, by the way.
It's a great hat, and thank you, Chris Kern. Griffin Kern pitched in the Cape Cod League, so they gave me the hat, which was really cool of them. Griffin now is pitching professionally. He's with the Stockton Ports, Class A team in the athletics organization. Got his first professional appearance last week. 1 inning, 2 strikeouts. I think it was 2 nights later, pitched again, got his first professional victory. I hope to see him make it.
He is such a great young man and always has been and totally unaffected. Here's my thing, though. When we were watching Griffin Kern the early years, nobody saw this coming.
No.
Nobody saw this coming at all. I'm curious now, and you've watched a lot more of him at the college and professional level than I had, because I know you were following that like mad.
Yeah.
What is it now that makes him so elite and special at just finding a way to get guys out, Matt? Because he does that at a very high level.
He's a bulldog.
Is that what it is? Just
really
attitude?
It's attitude. And if you watch him pitch, his mechanics a little different than some people's. But when he gets to that point, it's like, I got to make a pitch. I'm going to make that pitch, and you're not going to hit it. And his velocity isn't off the charts, but he knows how to pitch. And I go back to, and somebody shared a picture of Greg Maddux in a sweater and goes, just remember when you see all these guys throwing 100 miles an hour, this guy won 355 career games. Griffin Kern has some of those similarities where he knows how to paint the corners. He knows how to get a guy out. And so much of it is mentality, and so much of it is that bulldoggedness. It's that you're not going to beat me right now. I'm going to beat you. And we saw it at Quincy University. He was the GLVC Pitcher of the Year his last year at Quincy University. Went in the transfer portal, ended up at West Virginia, was a third-team All-American, led them to the Super Regionals. And even one of those games, he came out of the bullpen to help finish it up. And again, a bulldog. And that's why he's got a chance. That's why Riley Martin has a chance. Riley Martin doesn't throw off the charts. Now, his velocity has increased.
His release point is so funky, though. I can see why I have not seen Griffin pitch since he was at QU.
Okay.
And he was great there,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But Riley's release point, you could always tell people could not find the ball.
Yep.
I mean, it was just, everybody has a way to get it done who's successful at this level.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to me that Griff's way to get it done is different than Riley's way to get it done. That's different than everybody else in baseball's way to get it done.
And it's fun to watch, and it's fun to see the guys progress. Dason Crows is another one.
What a meteoric rise.
I
Great guy.
hope. I don't know if it'll happen. I don't know if he can get to the big leagues. He's a professional hitter. The dude flat hits. And it's impressive to watch how he goes about his work, how he goes about his business. Not the best fielder. He would admit that. But man, the dude can freaking stroke it.
I don't mean this as a direct comparison, but there is something very, forgive me for saying this, Tony Gwynn about the way he goes about at bats.
Yeah.
I mean, just an approach. I'm not saying he's going to be Tony Gwynn, but there is something very professional, you're right, about the way he approaches every at bat and every pitch.
And I can totally see that. I can see that comparison in the sense of how do you approach it? How do you work at it? How do you, I mean, he's 100% a professional hitter. Yeah. Now he's at the AA level. Jacob Krager, the Palmyra native, is doing good things in the Braves organization. He's with the Rome Emperors right now, and he's doing great things. He's working his way up. He's had a great summer. I think it was like 10 straight quality starts.
It's not easy to do. No.
So the one name I thought you'd bring up that you didn't was Aeneas Williams.
I think everybody at this point just assumes greatness with Aeneas, and we all love Aeneas if he never touched the football again. I mean, that's just the level of Aeneas being Aeneas in this community. And I do. And I think we all will watch Notre Dame football very vehemently and passionately this year. I just think at this point we all kind of take casually for granted how great this kid is at the sport of football. Because if you're doing it as a freshman, if you're blocking the way he blocked last year, the hardest thing there is to do in college football, he comes in as a freshman and blocks the way he blocks on third down. There's a place in the league for somebody like that.
He became their third down back last year as a true freshman.
As he should have, with the best running back in the country sharing a room with him in love. So, I mean, Aeneas is just so special and different, although aren't we to the point now where there's really nothing left that Aeneas can do to amaze either one of us at this point?
I would agree with that, but the thing that probably ingratiates me to him more than anything else is he wants to give back to the community. He wants to do things in Hannibal. He had a camp for kids this past year, a pro skills camp. I think there's talks in the works that he's going to do it again next year. And such a great person whose family's, just really nice people. It's great to see him, and just like with Luke Guthrie being back this past weekend to do a kids camp, got to spend some time with Luke. It's those sorts of things. You just love to see it.
You brought it back full circle because I think there's something that needs to be said about Luke here coming back this weekend because we don't get that chance very often.
No.
And you get to sit down on the truck like it was 15 years ago and after a match out at Westview.
Well, we were laughing because we were thinking back. 2012 was a long time ago.
Oh, it's amazing when you think about it.
And that was when he made his pro debut.
Yeah.
When he won the state title, he won back-to-back state championships. And his senior year, his dad and I, Dennis Guthrie, were sitting and ended up sitting outside the scorer's tent kind of at Bloomington at the den at Fox Creek. And we were sitting on a golf cart and just chatting while we were waiting scores to get posted. And I looked at him and I said, I'll be there when Luke makes his pro debut. And I was.
Yes, you were.
I had never covered a professional golf tournament at that point. Luke had never played in a professional golf tournament at that point. Neither one of us knew what to do. Like in terms of, you can go here afterwards. I had no clue that they just gather outside the scoring tent. So like Luke and I like made plans after the round one, and we did. We sat on the porch. Well, we sat near the clubhouse. The next day we sat on the porch of the clubhouse and chatted after each of his rounds. But we were kind of reminiscing about that and how that seemed so long ago, and we didn't know what we were doing, and and so much has changed in that sense. But he's never changed, not one iota, which is why during one of his off weeks in the Korn Ferry Tour, he came back to Quincy to do a kids camp.
I just thought of this, but think of how different the venue for your interview was this week when you were at the range, you know, and it's just like how golf, and I don't think, I know Quincy is a great golf town, but if we don't have the D.A. Wybrings and Luke Guthries of the world, I don't know that golf has the same level of interest. I don't know that we get this level of simulator at the range out there that big towns like St. Louis crawl all over each other for top golf.
And kudos to the guys at the KC range.
Yeah, they've done an amazing job.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, they really have. So it's neat that just kind of a full circle moment, reflective. And I know Luke doesn't think about things like that because he's too humble to do that, but he has a role in that.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. So it was fun to catch up with him. It was also fun to see his interaction with the kids during that camp. The high fives, they were chanting when he hit some balls for him to do the Happy Gilmore. And he
has
did
a very good Happy Gilmore swing.
He did.
And maybe I shouldn't be surprised by that. But his actually looked elegant and graceful. I was like, I think I remarked that to you like before we got on air. It's like, his swing is really good doing that.
It was, and again, the kids had a ball.
It
was phenomenal. I was lucky I was able to be out there. I was fortunate and got to spend some time watching the camp, and then spend some time chatting with Luke. And I know he got his Gym City pizza, so he was happy about that.
What else is on the list?
He hit up Kelly's. He hit up Gym City Pizza. I don't know where else he hit up while he was here. No, see, it's been several years since he's been back in Quincy. When he and his wife Caitlin settled in Jacksonville, Florida.
Right.
His mom and dad moved down there. His grandma moved down there. He doesn't have any familial ties to Quincy right now.
Sure.
It's still his hometown. He still has high school buddies who still live here. The B.J. Krogers, the Dan McClearys who are still in town.
Sure.
And some of his high school buddies who have gone other places, Paul Bell's, Sean Blakeman's, still have family here.
So they can come back.
So there's lots of ties to Quincy for Luke, but it's just hard with his schedule. He's got 3 kids.
Right, you're a dad now and a husband and a professional.
Yeah, so
that's not an easy life.
To take one of your weeks off during the golf season and fly into Quincy or fly into St. Louis and come up to Quincy, kudos to Luke for doing that.
Yeah, it's awesome and good for you with the great coverage this weekend. I think people really, really enjoyed that. Now, we have all kinds of other things brewing on our immediate horizon now.
We do. It's week 1 of everything. And we got a lot of fun things to get to. I'm excited. I know you are too. It's been a busy preseason.
It has.
Trying to get you up to speed on everything.
Yeah, I don't learn as well, at age 55 as I used to at age 25, but I got there.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely.
Things have been great.
And thank you for not, murdering me at any point during this from trying to.
Because if I got mad at you and did something drastic, then your wife would be mad at me, and it just wouldn't work.
Angie's a scary woman. You don't want any part of that, dude.
But we do. We have a lot to get to. Is there anything right now as we embark on the start of the fall seasons that you're really looking forward to?
I am, and I'll save the football stuff because we'll have all kinds of football conversations to come, and including Monday Night Lights, which is going to be super fun.
We had our first episode on Monday night. We're going to have more. Every Monday night, 7 to 9, Monday Night Lights, powered by Farm and Home Supply, right here live.
Not to mention the Blitz, powered by Excel.
Yes,
every Saturday morning.
The Muddy River Blitz is going to be his highlight package. And. So if you want video highlights from Friday Night Football, and we got friends that are helping us make sure we get to as many games as possible with video components. We're going to have coverage of football as well, but we'll also have coverage of softball, soccer, volleyball. We're not going to overlook. Yes, we're talking a lot of football, but we're not going to overlook anything.
No, and that's why when you asked me about excitement level, I kind of compiled a list of some things I'm looking forward to coming up this fall. I got a little taste of that with the Jamboree last week with getting to watch Highland and Monroe City and Bowling Green softball.
Right.
That is not
Yep.
certainly the extent of the list, because I think there are some other teams out there that are brewing. I think Canton
so.
could be a little sneaky. I think Palmyra has a chance to be
That's
sneaky.
the one I'm kind of looking at to see what they do.
Right. I think there's some teams out there that are going to give us some really good softball highlights. But watching Abby Lay come back from a catastrophic knee injury and throw really well. I mean, I don't know that she's back to being state championship Abby from last year, but to see her come down, stare down a pretty darn good Bowling Green lineup, and do what she did against those girls, I think if you're a Highland fan, there's a chance. My goodness, that top of that lineup is just so good, 1 through 6, with the way Paul has put things together. You've got Bailey Christ, I mean, you've got Addie Abel, who's a second team All-Stater somehow last year. Paul's still bitter that she wasn't first team as good as she was. I mean, you've got the best base stealer in the state, perhaps, in Kira Rothweiler, and Kiki is still as fast as ever and doing what she does. So it's just so much fun to kind of watch that group.
And we had a catch of the week highlight last week with Hannah Ritterbusch. So defensively, we know they're going to be good.
They're awfully good. And Paul talks about that, how good they are up the middle. Center field, shortstop, second base with those 3 girls. And catcher now with Bailey Chris behind the plate making that move this year. I'm told she was always a catcher. So that's kind of a super cool deal.
Yeah, that is.
Speaking of Highland Girls Golf, still going to be really incredible with Morgan Chris back. And I'm kind of looking forward to see, because those girls around her now have been to state. They're more experienced. They're more confident. This is not walking into the great unknown. It's not Morgan and the Cougars anymore. It's a legitimate Highland golf squad.
No question about it.
So,
no question.
Looking forward to that.
There's one thing on the college level, or multiple things on the college level, but there's one in particular that caught my interest this week, and I'm going to get out and spend some time with them, but it's the QU men's soccer team.
Okay.
Carter Venverlo, Quincy High School graduate, scored a goal. They beat WIU in an exhibition, 1-0.
D1, yes.
D1 school. So I think, and there's a lot of local talent on both the QU men's and women's teams. So I'm anxious to see how those develop.
I also think if you're looking for a QU story of interest, QU women's volleyball is going to be a absolute juggernaut again this fall.
I think so too.
So I think that's something that I love watching college volleyball. From a viewer standpoint, from a videographer standpoint, it is about as fun a sport to shoot as there is out there, and they are good.
From a still photographer standpoint, it might be the most frustrating sport I shoot.
Yeah, well,
and it's just because when they're into it, the ball moves so fast.
Well, I feel the same way in reverse about tennis, because I can never make tennis look good with a single camera.
Oh, and see, I love shooting tennis.
Your tennis shots are awesome. I can't make everything look because I'm doing this the entire time, ping-ponging my way back and forth for the action. So, by the way, got a little Hannibal tennis story coming people's way as well.
That's right.
I think Hannibal tennis is going to be really, really good. I know they lost Aubrielle Krigbaum, but Casey DeStefani had a big summer, and she is kind of going to be the number 1, and everybody's kind of following suit for Tony Hughes behind that. So had a chance to talk to them. Little coverage of that coming up the road as well.
Yeah, we'll have a lot coming up, but every Wednesday we'll be right here.
As we should be.
Should be fun.
I can't wait for next week's toss-up question. You don't give these to me in advance.
No, I don't.
I can't believe I forgot Roadhouse though. That should have been number 1 on my list.
I'm shocked. I mean, you knew what my number 1 was going to be.
I did, but I know all your favorite movies.
True, very true. And I knew Roadhouse, but it slipped my mind when you were going through your list. And
gosh,
hey, you saved it.
I did. I
pulled it back. Imagine how mad you would have been if we had wrapped this up, gone our separate ways. And then you thought of it about 10 minutes later.
Did you ever see the Roadhouse remake, the new one with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah. No.
Sorry, people.
No. I might have a Netflix question for you next week.
I can't wait. I love Netflix.
That might be the
I love the stream. Okay, I'm in.
I'm in a documentary mode right now.
Oh, I love documentaries.
So
sports documentaries being my all-time favorite.
Mine too, but I've been veering away from those.
Okay.
And checking out other documentaries.
I can't wait to have this conversation.
There's a series on there called Trainwreck.
Okay.
It's a different kind of.
I've not even heard of this yet.
We got something to talk about next week.
I can't wait.
Make sure you come back and join us next week. Thanks for watching and listening. This has been Mud Brothers, a Muddy River Sports podcast.
Muddy River Sports, our home, our sports.